Kirk Douglas finally breaks silence on Richard Harris. Kirk Douglas was born East Shore on December 9, 1916, in Amsterdam, New York, to Jewish immigrant parents from Belarus. Douglas rose from humble beginnings to become a symbol of resilience, talent, and tenacity. His early life was shaped by hardship and determination, growing up in a working-class family during the Great Depression, which instilled in him a relentless work ethic and a desire to succeed against the odds. Douglas's journey into acting began after he served in the United States Navy during World War II, an experience that not only shaped his character, but also deepened his appreciation for life and freedom. After the war, he studied acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York, where he honed his craft and developed the skills that would propel him into stardom. His rugged good looks, intense presence, and charismatic screen persona made him a natural leading man. He soon caught the attention of Hollywood studios and began his ascent in the film industry. Throughout the late 1940s and 1950s, Kirk Douglas became a major box office draw, starring in a string of memorable films that showcased his versatility and emotional range. He was known for playing complex, often morally ambiguous characters, tough, flawed heroes with a deep inner conflict. One of his most famous roles was in Champion, 1949, where he portrayed a ruthless boxer with fierce ambition, earning him his first Academy Award nomination. This film established Douglas as a serious actor capable of delivering raw, powerful performances. Douglas's contribution to cinema was not limited to his acting. In 1956, he made a bold move into film production, co-founding Bryna Productions, named after his mother. This decision gave him creative control over his projects at a time when actors rarely had such power in Hollywood. This independence allowed him to champion meaningful stories and push boundaries. Most notably, he produced and starred in the 1960 epic Spartacus, directed by Stanley Kubrick, which became a landmark film for its scale, storytelling, and its subtle but courageous stand against the Hollywood blacklist era. Spartacus remains one of the greatest historical epics ever made, and Douglas's role as the rebellious gladiator became an enduring symbol of resistance and freedom. Kirk Douglas's career was also marked by an incredible range of genres and roles. From westerns like Gunfight at the OK Corral to psychological dramas such as The Bad and the Beautiful and Lust for Life, where he famously portrayed the troubled artist Vincent van Gogh with a raw intensity that captured the painter's tortured genius. His willingness to tackle challenging roles that explored human vulnerability, ambition, and redemption won him critical acclaim and a lasting place in cinematic history. Beyond his professional achievements, Douglas was a man of deep conviction and generosity. He was a philanthropist who donated millions to educational and cultural institutions, including supporting film preservation and promoting peace initiatives. His philanthropic efforts extended globally, reflecting his belief in the power of art and education to improve lives. He was also a dedicated family man, known for his close relationship with his children, especially his son Michael Douglas, who followed in his footsteps to become a celebrated actor and producer. In his later years, even after facing a severe stroke in 1996 that impaired his ability to speak, Kirk Douglas remained a symbol of courage and perseverance. He continued to write memoirs and make public appearances, inspiring millions with his story of overcoming adversity and embracing life with passion and dignity. His memoirs, such as The Ragman's Son and Let's Face It, offer a candid and heartfelt glimpse into the life of a man who fought tirelessly to carve his own path in Hollywood and beyond. Kirk Douglas's personal life was as eventful and complex as his illustrious career in Hollywood. He married his first wife, Diana Dill, on November 2, 1943, during the early years of his rising stardom. Their union marked the beginning of a family that would eventually produce notable figures in the entertainment industry. Together, Kirk and Diana had two sons, Michael Douglas, who would go on to become an acclaimed actor and producer in his own right, and Joel Douglas, who carved out a career as a producer. This marriage, however, was not without its challenges, and eventually ended in divorce in 1951 after nearly 8 years together. The split reflected not just the strains of personal differences, but also the pressures of Hollywood life and the demands of Douglas's burgeoning career, which often kept him away from home periods. Shortly after his divorce, Kirk's love life remained equally complicated and public. In his autobiography, The Ragman's Son, he reveals that in the early 1950s, he became engaged to Italian actress Pier Angeli. The two met on the set of the 1953 film, The Story of Three Loves, where their chemistry blossomed into a serious romantic relationship. Their engagement was widely reported at the time, stirring interest among fans and the media alike, as Angeli was a celebrated starlet known for her beauty and talent. However, despite the promise of marriage, the couple never made it down the aisle. Various sources suggest that the pressures of Hollywood, personal differences, and perhaps Kirk's own evolving feelings contributed to the eventual dissolution of their engagement. This episode in his life illustrated the often tumultuous nature of romantic relationships in the glare of the public eye and underscored Douglas's complex emotional world. Following this, fate brought Kirk Douglas to Paris, a city known for romance and reinvention, where he met Anne Bidens while filming Act of Love. Anne, born Hannelore Marx in Hanover, Germany, on April 23, 1919, had a remarkable personal history that shaped the foundation of their lifelong relationship. She was a survivor who had fled Nazi Germany, escaping persecution and danger through her intelligence and resourcefulness. During her early years, Anne used her remarkable multilingual talents to carve out a career in the film industry, working as a translator and subtitle specialist in film studios, an occupation that brought her into contact with many industry insiders. Their meeting was serendipitous and transformative for both. They married on May 29, 1954, beginning a partnership that would endure for 6 decades. Their marriage was celebrated publicly and privately as one of Hollywood's lasting romances. In 2014, the couple marked their 60th wedding anniversary with a grand celebration at the historic Greystone Mansion in Beverly Hills, a venue symbolic of their enduring love and resilience. Together, Kirk and Anne had 2 sons, Peter Douglas, who pursued a career in producing, and Eric Douglas, who followed his father's footsteps into acting. Sadly, Eric's life was marked by struggles that ended tragically when he died on July 6, 2004, at the age of 46 from an overdose of alcohol and drugs. This loss deeply affected both Kirk and Anne, underscoring the complex and sometimes painful realities behind their seemingly glamorous lives. Throughout their long marriage, Kirk Douglas was known to have had affairs with other women, including several well-known Hollywood starlets. Unlike many of his contemporaries who concealed such indiscretions, Douglas was remarkably open about his infidelities, even to Anne. Remarkably, she accepted these affairs with a pragmatic attitude shaped by her European upbringing. Anne explained, "As a European, I understood it was unrealistic to expect total fidelity in a marriage. This perspective allowed them to maintain a stable relationship despite these challenges. Their marriage was built not just on romantic idealism, but on mutual respect, understanding, and a commitment that transcended conventional norms." This complex dynamic between Douglas and Bidens highlighted the nuances of their partnership and shed light on the private realities that often accompany public lives in Hollywood. For decades, the relationship between Hollywood titan Kirk Douglas and the legendary Irish actor Richard Harris had remained shrouded in mystery, speculation, and a fair amount of myth. Both men were known for their commanding on-screen presence, off-screen charisma, and larger-than-life personas. Yet, while they operated in similar cinematic spheres, frequently cast as heroic or volatile characters, and celebrated for their intense performances, they rarely shared the screen. Even more curious was the almost total silence from both parties about each other in interviews, memoirs, or industry chatter. That is, until Douglas, then in his 90s, finally chose to reveal the truth behind their long-assumed silence. In a reflective and surprisingly candid interview near the end of his life, Kirk Douglas broke his silence about his personal impressions and complicated relationship with Richard Harris. He acknowledged that Harris, though immensely talented, was often unpredictable and sometimes difficult to work with, particularly during the height of his fame in the 1960s and 1970s. Douglas admitted he had long admired Harris's raw acting ability, calling him a fearless performer who never played it safe and comparing him to other risk-takers like Marlon Brando or Peter O'Toole. However, Douglas also confessed that Harris's well-documented drinking and temperamental behavior on set were factors that made studios hesitant to pair them together in major projects despite several near collaborations. One such project Douglas mentioned was a historical epic in the late 1960s where both were nearly cast as co-leads. The producers loved the idea. Douglas recalled they said it would be explosive, and they were right. It would have exploded the production.